In what can only be described as a brazen show of defiance, Emperor Aethelred has seized the throne from Zachariah the Timid. Now come the days of the Emperor of Fashion. Hello, Legion. This is Hadrian. Thank you for being here. Let's play some more Crusader Kings III in our Empire of Albion series. So, in between episodes, I have switched to Emperor Aethelred, and it was I kind of decided spur of the moment towards the end of the last episode to make this move, but I have to say, as I begin this episode, I'm really happy that I did it. Like, really, really happy. Because it just makes a lot more sense than to have Zachariah on the throne. Zachariah was not a particularly compelling emperor. Aethelred is. His stats are much better, and he is the final living son of Zachariah. So, he is in fact, remember Zachariah is Antoninus' son. There is there are multiple problems, which we'll get to in a moment. Aethelred actually doesn't have any kids of his own right now, oddly enough. So the heir is Zachariah, the guy we just took the throne from. But this is, I think, a much better emperor to sunset the series on. We'll kind of see how his reign plays out, and we have a lot to do, so let's dive in. First of all, we have to set our council. Our patriarch is Gus Patrick Reresby, or Rearsby, perhaps. But we can, in fact, have looks like a better chancellor. And this is actually a pretty good option. So King Alfred, Alfwinson of Scotland. We want this guy to have a better opinion of us, and I'll show you why in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and fire Jarl Vermunder so that King Alfred can be on the council. Let's go through and see if we can get the best possible counselors here. It looks like King Ethelwulf will be a better counselor, and this is good to have the kings on the council, for sure. So he's going to be the best steward. We're going to fire Duke Godeskalk, and in terms of our marshal, it looks like Duke Einion is the most powerful vassal that wants that position, and it seems like he would be reasonably well qualified for it. There's also King Edred, but his martial score is not nearly as high, so we're going to put Duke Einion in that post. And then the Spy Master. Ooh, interesting. King Ethelwulf is actually a much better Spy Master. Hold on. Now I'm thinking. As if I wasn't thinking before. But no, this is interesting. We have some decisions to make here. Do I want to have King Ethelwulf in as steward? And if so, who do I want as my steward? Duke Einion is the best option. I could put Godeskalk in as steward. He's not as good of a steward, but that way he wouldn't be mad about being fired from the council. Who's the alternative for Marshal? Jarl Vermunder? Tell you what, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put Ethelwulf in here. So Duchess Bjorg is about to get fired from the council, but what we're going to do is put in as steward Duke Einion. So Duchess Bjorg is now Marshal. She's going to get fired, and we'll put Jarl Vermunder back in as Marshal. Now, he's still not particularly happy with me. Now, why do we want King Alfred on our side? There's another thing I want to do as well, which is our current regent presumptive is Prince Zachariah. I don't want that. I actually want to have, in terms of regency succession, I want to have this character selected. And interestingly enough, why is it not giving me the option? Here we go, regent presumptive. So I want to designate King Alfred. He's already selflessly loyal, and if we designate him as the regent, hang on, any character with a higher succession score than King Alfred will lose opinion of you. Okay, well, let's look at succession score. That's only Prince Zachariah, and he already has a very negative opinion of me, so we're going to go ahead and designate King Alfred, who is our nephew. So he is Let's just follow the bloodline back a bit. So he's Prince Alpin's son. Prince Alpin was never on the throne, but Prince Alpin was one of Zachariah's sons. So we're going to designate him. He's a good character to be regent. Now there's a reason for this. Let's do that. Notice that we are once again in the situation of only having one holding. That's a problem. So we are going to revoke this title from him. We're going to take Lothian back from him. So he does have a 100% chance to accept it. He's probably not going to like very much that I'm doing this, but we've just given him a lot, and that will hopefully help to counterbalance things a little bit. Now I have to choose a lifestyle for this character, and I think his lowest stat is actually... Hang on. What are we looking at here? We already have Scholar, which is really good for development growth. I kind of want to go for Whole of Body so that we can have a nice, you know, long life as this character, but his learning stat is already excellent. It does mean that he'll be able to get this relatively quickly. Part of me is tempted to go straight for the medicine focus. Give him a small health boost. I'll show you why that's important as well in just a second. So let's do that. On account of having the high learning skill and the Scholar trait already unlocked, we already have a development growth bonus. So we're not gaining anything necessarily. I mean, we would increase the development growth even more if we selected Scholarship, but we already have high learning and we don't need that 15% because we already have it from Scholar. So I'd rather have the health boost. Why? There's one tiny negative. I mean, let's just take a look at this from the beginning. Emperor Ethelred is calm. He's fickle. He's diligent, which is a really good trait to have as an emperor. He's an astute intellectual, eager reveler, aspiring blade master, scholar, comely, so he's pleasant to look at, good-looking fellow, strong. He's also possessed. So this is CK3's version of just basically, to use modern terminology, he's neurodivergent. So he has something about his emotions, something about the way that he thinks that's a little bit off the map, and it manifests as sudden changes in emotion, awareness, and ability that he experiences, and it can only be explained at this point in time by spirits inhabiting his body. But there's just something a little bit different about him, and the way that this game represents it is that he's possessed. And it's a moderate health penalty and attraction penalty as well. But other possessed characters like him more, and it does add learning lifestyle experience because, you know, he just has to try harder to figure out how to live life. So that's something that kind of makes him have a slightly reduced health stat. Now, his health is fine, but we want to do what we can to counterbalance that so that he can have a nice long life. Now, one thing that I want to try to do is convert his culture as soon as possible. We don't have the option at the moment. I'm not sure why. To convert culture, let's take a look at... Yeah, we don't have a court physician hired. We need to go ahead and search for one. Let's start that search. Looks like we need to find an Anglic linguist. So what languages does he speak? Anglic, Lakitic, and Norse. So why is it saying that he needs an I mean, I'm going to go ahead and roll with this. Seems somewhat new, but let's go ahead and start the search. Okay, so this would make this character a court tutor. Kenraid is a bold thinker. Fearless blackguard. Oh, I don't want a blackguard in place. So let's go ahead and have Kenraid as a famous Anglic expert. All right, so we have a court tutor. Now we can raise a runestone. This has to do with his Norse culture. I want to try and get him converted as soon as possible. We can hold court. We'll do that soon. I don't want to create a cadet branch. We can transfer Zachariah to King Ethelwulf. Yeah, let's do that. Grand Vassal. We want to do as much as we can with the characters that are currently under us to make basically make the vassals like us right now, because we've just assumed the throne in a very kind of dodgy way. I'm noticing that we have different accolades. We no longer have the accolades that we previously had active. I'm not quite sure why. It could be that because we've changed characters, we no longer have access to those, although I wouldn't have expected that. I would have expected them to be associated with the title. Not a big deal, but we don't have those accolades active anymore. So one thing we need to do is make sure that we are forbidding the characters from fighting that we do not want to fight. We definitely don't want the Marshal to fight. We're okay with King Edred fighting. He's a good fighter. We're going to recruit you to the courts. We want to forbid King Ethelwulf from fighting. We're going to forbid Duke Einion from fighting. Okay, so that's looking better. We're not employing a court physician, but that should be resolved shortly. You can pardon your niece, Princess Ethelthryth. I don't know that I want to do that. Remember, she was the one that was plotting to kill Antoninus. And I don't know that I'm thrilled with that as the one on the throne now. Let's take a look at what our council is doing before we unpause. What are we doing? Also, let's get to know the wife real quick before we look at the council, because she's technically the first on the council. So, wife and Empress Mafalda Vidizes of Albion. She's patient, she's honest, she's ambitious, she's an intricate web weaver, mayor trainee, a confider, so she loses stress more rapidly, and a valued administrative courtier. She's Mozarabic and Galician, so she is not a follower of my religion, which is interesting. Can I demand conversion? 73% chance. Let's go ahead and do that, because if that's part of the reason that he doesn't have kids, we need to resolve that as soon as possible. Okay, council, what are you up to? The Patriarch is set to religious relations, which we want. Chancellor is set to domestic affairs, which he has been set to that for generations. It's to improve the opinions of vassals within the realm. Duke Einion is collecting taxes, which is good. Jarl Vamunder is increasing control in a local county, and I'm pretty sure we still want that control increased there. Where are you specifically? Over there? Let's take a look at the control map real quick. Yep. That's... I mean, there are better opportunities, but that is a county that needs control raised. And then the Spymaster King Ethelwulf is disrupting schemes. So we just want to make sure that he's standing in the way of whoever might try to mess with me. Now we could develop the capital. Another thing that we could do, by the way, let's go ahead and get the learn language invalidated. Duke Bengar has passed away. You can no longer use the learn language on him. Alright, so he was learning Goidelic. That's a shame that he passed away. I wonder what happened to him in his final days that he was disfigured. To wear that mask. Interesting. So we can go with Duke Gluis. I kind of want to just... I want to go with a character that is, like, good-natured. Looks like Gluis has a beautiful accent. Let's go ahead and use that. The new Emperor. It is now up to me to lead the vast empire my nephew Prince Zachariah left behind. I stand before my vassals, adjust my new crown, and rearrange my shirt. Oh, the things that I will accomplish. Long live the Emperor. All right, let's pause for a second. We have requested that that title be given up. Oh, she refused conversion. Okay. Well, we have Edinburgh back, so let's go ahead and move the capital back to Edinburgh. And let's take a look at our court artifacts and see what we have or don't have. Yeah, Yep. We are missing some court artifacts. So we're missing a lot. this switch, the character switch, has not worked out amazingly because I think most of the things that we had kind of got sent to, well, in some ways, maybe what I should have done, and this is the way the game is programmed, not necessarily a problem with it in any way, but because I chose to switch characters, like the Stone of Skoon is not with me and hadn't been with me anyway. I've been talking in the comments with someone about that. On top of that, we have none of our other court artifacts to help us out. Now, he's a really good character, but that's just an interesting little speed bump as we end the series here with the next few episodes. I want to go ahead and hold court, and it might be that I can go ahead and get some of those artifacts back. We'll just have to kind of locate them. So let's hear petitioners. A thin, raggedy peasant stands before me, gawking at the opulence of my throne room. Obviously distracted, I call him to get his attention. Oh, I'm sorry, my lord. My village in Lothian was hit by blight this year. We lost not only our crop, but our seed, too. We have nothing. We shall starve without help. Glancing around my throne room again, he adds, surely you have wealth to spare. So we can give him some gold, and Lothian will gain pleased peasants for 5 years, which is an improvement to popular opinion, and also would help us gain court grandeur. If the fields are barren, you shall wield a sword, so we can improve levy size but reduce holding taxes. Let's go ahead and go for the funds. It's going to put us in debt a little bit, but I think it's worth it. My liege, King Alfred's voice is severe. I request that we launch an investigation about an infamous preacher in Edinburgh. You see, this preacher is, well, she's a woman. That is not in accordance with our faith. Duke Seychraid interjects Alfred's speech by raising his hand and taking a step forward. My liege, while Alfred is correct in his assessment, that is the preacher's only flaw. Everything she teaches is in accordance with our faith. One of my guards approaches with my patriarch Gospatrick in chains, trailing behind him. I caught Gospatrick here in the process of sending sensitive information to the foreign spies in Iceland. What should we do with him? Alright, so this will allow us to gain dread, but it's an act of tyranny. So we can get a strong hook on our bishop. We could imprison him, but he would stop endorsing me. So let's get a strong hook on him. And my business here is done. Now, yeah, I don't want to create a cadet branch. One thing I do want to try to do is find out where the frickin' Stone of Skoon is. Oh, man. And now it's like, where do I go to figure that out? So this is the royal court of the Kingdom of Scotland. Would it still be down here, perhaps? Okay, it's not here. Where did this thing end up? No, it's not here either. Okay, that's somewhat discouraging. Did we lose the Stone of Skoon? How did this... I mean, it's one thing that we don't have it on account of what I was just mentioning, but like also, did we as a just collective... Has someone just lost track of it? Where the heck is the Stone of Skoon? Serious question, guys. Where is it? Let's take a look at vassals. So the King of Wessex, I've checked his throne room. I genuinely have no idea where this is. I might be able to demand an artifact. Let's see if we can do it that way. I'm not seeing the option from anyone. Let's check with... Since our primary heir is currently this character, if we steal an artifact... Yeah, so, okay. Okay. We need to take some stuff back from Zachariah. So we found the Stone of Skun. Let's go ahead and steal it from him. Yes, I could have just given this to... I could also, like, switch characters again and give it back, but I think it's more fun to steal it. So we're going to do an 85%, you know, chance scheme to steal the Stone of Skun. Back from Zachariah. Hey, we've accomplished our series objectives. We're going to have fun with this, okay? Now that we have moved the capital, let's go ahead and develop the capital. We will gain some stress for this, so maybe we won't do that just yet. Oh, we can convert to local culture. There it is. I acknowledge who I am. All right, and now if I meditate in seclusion, might lose stress, gain traits, or even increase your learning skill. Let's go ahead and do this. Embarking on an inner journey through meditation is no trivial thing. Many preparations will need to be made, the least of which is deciding where I shall retreat to. The location I choose to meditate in will heavily influence the outcome of my journey. The comfort of my own castle. Oh, I didn't realize there were going to be stat penalties here. So I can say I'm too busy to meditate right now. More likely to lose stress at this location. The secluded forest of Westmoreland. That's a moderately challenging place to meditate in. Let's do that. So we have a caravan master. So his aptitude is excellent for the position. We don't need to replace him. But we do probably need to have some guards in place. Like a mountaineer. Yeah, that's good enough. Mountaineer hired. Doesn't eliminate all the danger. We're not employing a court physician. I know. We are currently looking for one. Now, we do need to develop the capital. This will still stress us out, so we need to lower stress before we do that. But the fact that we've converted culture is quite good. Hello, that was loud. Oh, hang on. I just realized my ducking is not on. Now the game should be a little bit quieter when I'm talking, now that we're 20 minutes into the episode. Oops. All packed and proper, we finally have come to a point where we can start our journey from Lothian to our next destination. I can't wait. Court grandeur level increased. A duel demanded. Alright, so this dude... He has one more prowess than I do, and he's a giant. He's a giant. So, I have no interest in either you or fair fight. Let's just go ahead and... Yeah, he was swiftly trampled by our entourage. Like, we're going to meditate. Leave us alone. Adarsh is widely known in scholarly circles. This will cost us money to hire him. But it's worth it. So let's do that. All right, it looks like we have some agents joining the scheme. That's really helpful. We're going to get that particular artifact back and then steal another one as soon as possible. You became the culture head of Anglo-Saxon culture. Very good. Let's very quickly take a look at what we're currently... Yeah, we're still investigating hereditary rule. That will allow us to enact partition. Looks like there's a dangerous faction. Wants to lower crown authority, but right now it's not powerful enough to actually demand anything of me. All right, so we are in debt, but we're climbing out of debt. How does the Pope feel about me? Genuine question. Okay, we can't ask him for gold for another couple of years. Currently, it looks like his opinion of me is not very good, so we might need to work on him in the meantime. Once we're done with our learn language scheme, we might need to sway him. You begin meditating. Journey to Lothian was delayed by 6 months. Notable guest has arrived. There's a claim on a county in the southeastern region of the Holy Roman Empire. Okay. Not going to pay too much attention to that. Oh, hey, Empress Mafalda is bearing my child. I cannot wait to hold the baby in my arms. Okay, so that's good news. I don't know why she hasn't had any, like, why neither of them have had kids, you know, before this point. They seem to have, like, a good opinion of each other. Accolade successor found. Ooh. Let's go ahead and set that up. So the current accolade is a tactician accolade. So what does this do for us? Martial lifestyle experience and men-at-arms counter efficiency. Stalwart is extra army toughness. Okay, that's not bad. Let's have Styrbjorn set as the successor. We are still in debt. We want to try and undo that as quickly as possible. So we have none of our artifacts right now. Nothing. We've got to take everything back. Some artifacts could be demanded, potentially. Let's see. We are trying to steal the Stone of Skoon, but we could challenge for artifact. This is hilarious. Yeah, we have to take literally everything back from him. Because when you switch characters, it doesn't just automatically give you all the stuff. Which is my bad. It's fine. It gives me something to do, and it's hilarious. But in future series, if I make a similar decision to switch characters, I'll need to make sure I send the artifacts over before I do so. Alright, so this is a marriage that has already been arranged, it seems. Who are these characters? Your nephew and your niece. Are they literally siblings? No, they're not. I'm not sure who arranged this marriage, but it does provide an alliance. So this is a character that's actually in another... They're related, but he's in a different realm. The dynasty has spread far and wide. Okay, well that's interesting. Niece just married nephew. Nobody bats an eye. I'm just kidding. Everybody batted an eye. But we're going to roll with that and continue forward. How long until that? 7 months? Okay. It's not too bad. About 9 months until the Learn Language scheme finishes up. Okay, so there will be an ultimatum involving Crown Authority in a few months. God will judge these sinners. My vassal Duke Godeskalk has had an extramarital affair with his lover Arona. How could he defile the sanctity of his marriage? Alright, so let's pause for just a moment. Yeah, I can't revoke his title simply because he's been sleeping around. I want to try and remove some of the more powerful characters from this faction. The most powerful is Duke Einion, and he's the one that I'm most likely to be able to sway. If I could improve his opinion of me in some way. I don't want to lower his taxes. What if I lowered his levy obligation to me? Oh, his obligations have already been changed. Okay, so I can't modify his contract. I could sway him, but I would lose the Learn Language option. Oof. This is rough. Is there another way for me to potentially... I don't think that there is. I don't have any titles to give him right now. I only have 2, like, actual titles in my domain. But I need to try to improve his opinion of me before this ultimatum goes through. Let's just try it and see what happens. How long? Okay, yeah, I don't know if it's going to go through. Claim on Dublin. For months, Aldahawk, Duke Godeskalk's bishop, has been digging up spurious contracts and fabricated histories. Now Duke Godeskalk dares act as if it all amounts to a legitimate claim on the earldom of Dublin. Lies and more lies. So we might be, shockingly, on the verge of another civil war here, but it could help us establish ourselves. After arriving in the wild forests of Westmoreland, I found a peaceful clearing to meditate in. I soon grew impatient, however, as no matter how still I sat or how hard I tried, I was still unable to feel anything but boredom. Dude, I literally sent you to meditate to avoid this problem. Okay, so this is good. It's giving me the option to become either athletic, which helps with health, or to become a journaler. I'm going to go for athletic. I'm going for a ride now. Okay, that's a win. Dude. Dude. Brother Alexander drank himself to death. Oh no! Well, that's annoying. And really sad. So in terms of, like, the living siblings, Alexander was the last living male brother. That was my last brother. Just died. Of Zachariah's kids. And of course, Antoninus is dead. Harrogith, who is Antoninus' older sister, is still alive. She's the freaking Empress of the Holy Roman Empire. Hell yeah. Can we just take a moment to appreciate what we've done with our dynasty throughout this series? Definitely when we end, we'll do what we can just to really explore how established this dynasty has become in Europe as a whole. But the fact that, you know, a member of my family is the Empress of the Holy Roman Empire, given, you know, the developments down here and the spread of that particular empire, is pretty great. Also, the Byzantine Empire is still doing a great job, and they have some territory down in Africa. So, like, they are holding on to power in their own right, which is pretty great to see. Okay. So we can go inside again. Meditation didn't do much. Let me guess. Northmen. All right. We're going to go ahead and accept that challenge. We will lose some stress. All right. So this is Adarsh, the court physician. He's a traveler, physician. He's chaste, temperate, and content. So basically we're combining prowess. Our prowess is 16, his is 6. So sheer prowess would be a pretty clear win. If we combine prowess and martial, that would also be a clear win. Foot race would also be a clear win. I think we can probably just go on prowess alone. Suggest that the two of you wrestle. So we're going to gain Sweaty Stench for 1 year, which will reduce general opinion, but hopefully help in other ways. Okay. We're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode here. I don't want to create a cadet branch. Stop asking me. In the next one, we will fight off the Northmen, now that we are at war with them again, and also possibly have to fight off a civil war, because that ultimatum is due within 1 month, and I don't think we're going to be able to sway Aenion in time. I didn't notice that that faction had actually gotten powerful enough, and then when I looked, there were only 3 months until the ultimatum. So that kind of set in quickly. It's unfortunate because this is a character, I don't think he's going to be overthrown. It's not a very large faction, and there are no kings on the faction, so we'll be able to put it down pretty quickly, and I think it'll largely be a good thing that it happened. But it's kind of unfortunate because this is really a triumphant move for the dynasty. The fact that Aethelred is on the throne now, the last living descendant of Zachariah, who is of course a descendant of Ecthegirn, who is a descendant of Donal, who is a descendant of Constantine I, Constantine II, whom we started playing as when the series kicked off. The fact that, you know, he's on the throne is pretty freaking great, and he's a good character. So, you know, he's going to have his civil wars. Hopefully he'll be able to put them down as rapidly as Antoninus was able to put his down, and we'll see how that plays out in the coming episode or 2, maybe. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to follow along. For early episodes, channel emotes, and member badges, look for the join button. New episodes drop at 11 a.m. US Eastern Time every day but Tuesday, and comments are always welcome, so leave your thoughts below, and I'll see you next time.